Welcome to Cellmates Podcast, a podcast where we compare, contrast, and generally throw a Venn diagram over two animated movies. I'm Dick Ward.
I'm Kate Phillips.
Hey, Kate. How's it going?
It's going pretty good.
That was great. Hey,
yeah.
By the way, I don't know if you know, I don't know if you've listened to this podcast before or been on all of the episodes, but...
I have.
Okay, well, I'm still going to tell you that... the movies we talk about are mostly Disney.
And not always.
And they're mostly musicals.
Not always.
And they're mostly good.
Not always.
Yeah. Okay.
Huh. We interchange mostly and often and frequently.
Yeah.
We're just full of adverbs.
Look.
Lee.
Yeah.
Lookly.
Luckily.
Dick.
Yeah. How you doing,
It's good to
Dave?
see you.
It's good to see you.
Yeah.
I guess I wanna bring this up at the top and just get this out of the way. I feel like we really dated the last episode by setting it in a very specific time and place, because we said like, oh, it's this episode we're still waiting for the full results of the Iowa Democratic caucus, and that really set it in a time and place. But happy to say
time and place that could be years from now.
Oh, are we still waiting for those?
Hey.
Are they still wrong? Hey. Anyway, for those of you not brain poisoned by politics, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. It's fine. Everything's fine. Because we've got drinks in our hands.
Yeah.
That's why it's fine.
Yeah, these are interesting drinks, Kate. What can you tell me about this drink that is, it's kind of like separating into...
Yeah,
I'm gonna
so it's...
stir it up a little bit.
I will say the salient feature in my hand right now is that it is a pinkish color, a dark pink, but
dark pink, yeah,
pinker than most drinks that I consume.
I would say it's like almost a combination of pink and blue. Like there's a little bit of that.
Yeah, maybe. Like purple?
Like pink.
Like blue?
Pink.
Blue.
Pink.
Blue.
Thanks.
Dick, do you happen to know the name of this drink that we created?
This is a Charlotte Russe.
That we concocted. It is almost.
Oh.
It's halfway. This is a...
Sorry, I wasn't trying to be funny. I thought I had it.
You thought you had
This is a ballet russe.
Ballet russe. Oui.
I wasn't going to say it like that.
It is. We go through a very in-depth process on Cellmates Podcast of choosing our drink per episode.
And I don't know,
highly researched.
I don't know how much anyone cares about this outside of us, but this is a big piece of the preparation.
I am legitimately saying this. We don't research many things on the podcast, but we do research the alcohol that we drink.
We make an effort. So we'll stop at a couple of different stores looking for beers, and if we see a beer where we're like, you know what, that might be an episode a month or two down the line, we'll pick it up just to make sure that we have it.
For the Pocahontas Princess and the Frog episode, I think we had that Purple Haze in our fridge for 3 months because we kept pushing back the episode in favor of other things.
So technically we did not have that Purple Haze in our fridge for 3 months, because at one point in that 3-month period, I drank it all and then had to buy more.
To get new, yeah.
But yeah, absolutely.
So when it came time to choose a drink for this episode, we're thinking, okay, we need a ballet slipper, curtains dancing kind of.
How is there not a white wine with a ballerina on it?
There's gotta be ballet slipper wine.
Yeah.
Well, we couldn't find anything.
No.
So then usually our next go-to is, all right, we'll look up The Thing and cocktail. That's how we found that Mousetrap.
Yeah, that was a fun
for Mouse Month.
The paper airplane for whatever we did that for.
Yeah, and it turns out that there was a cocktail named exactly after the theme that we had intended.
Belarus.
Ballet russe.
What is that?
Russe meaning Russian.
Is that Japanese?
No, it is French.
Speaking? Oh.
Ballet russe. I can't do the back of the third thing as well as I used to because now I speak Spanish. But Russian ballets are the theme of the day.
Huh.
Dick, would you like to tell us more?
Yeah, this is a time where I would normally make a joke about some other Russian ballet to throw people off the scent, but I don't know any other Russian ballet off the top of my head.
No jokes.
So this is two movies based on ballets.
And specifically Tchaikovsky ballets.
Who is Russian.
We are looking at The Sleeping Beauty, otherwise known as Sleeping Beauty.
And Swan Princess, otherwise known as The Swan Princess.
No, Swan Lake is the ballet.
What?
It is a different name.
Oh, I didn't understand.
Oh, sorry. The Sleeping Beauty is the name of the ballet.
I didn't get the joke.
Sleeping Beauty is the name. Well, if you were on this notes with me.
Well, I'm not.
Well, yeah. So, Sleeping Beauty, Disney, 1959.
Nice.
Swan Princess, Richie Rich, 1994.
Richard Rich.
And that's real. That is the director of this movie.
Richard Rich.
Richie Rich. Yeah. And we paired these movies because they're both Tchaikovsky ballets.
Yeah.
We thought that was fun.
Yeah.
But as is often the case with Cellmates podcast, there was more that intersected than we had originally thought.
Ooh.
Something there that wasn't there before.
Ooh. That's neat.
Write it down. I think that's a phrase that can go somewhere.
I'll tell Swan Princess.
I'm
sure it'll use
oh,
it.
Oh boy. Oh no. So
guys,
before
audience, we're gonna talk. If anyone out there is a big fan of Swan Princess and does not want to hear,
no, Dick. Here's the thing: you can't do that every episode, and we really need it for an upcoming episode of a movie that we have watched already. So we'll find positive things to say about the Swan Princess.
I have positive things to say, and also.
Well, let's save that then.
Yeah.
And start talking about Sleeping Beauty.
Okay.
Dick, what is your history with this movie?
Well, this movie came out before I was born.
Sure did.
And I've watched it sometime after I was born.
Well-researched podcast, everyone.
The eye roll from Kate. I could feel it in my soul. So I have like strong memories of this movie. I definitely watched it a bunch as a kid. I definitely liked it as a kid. Like when we first started watching it for the podcast, like the first 5 minutes, I was like, I don't remember any of this. And the rest of it, I was like, oh yeah, I remember all of this. I got this. And particularly the like ending, not even like fight scene, like adventure scene, like Prince Philip cutting through thorns and then fighting the dragon and stuff, like strong in my memory. So I don't know the last time that I watched this. I would posit that I was probably still pretty young. But really enjoyed getting to rewatch it.
Nice.
Now, what about you?
This is, in my little kid head, the last Disney movie, like this is all in quote marks, the last Disney movie I saw to have at the time seen every Disney movie. I know now that that's completely false.
Yeah.
I had never seen The Rescuers. I still haven't seen The Rescuers Down Under.
You haven't.
I don't think I've seen Oliver and Company, which at this point it's like early 90s when I get to see it. But I don't know. Maybe it's like
you
that.
You hadn't seen Oliver and Company, which came out while you were a kid.
No, that's
not true.
It came out either when I was 0 or 1. Yeah.
Well, it came out while I was a kid.
Before Little
so
Mermaid.
There you go.
And I was 2 years old.
All right. Fair.
Anyway, so maybe it was like when they re-released all the videos, they just released the good ones again. And this was like the last of those like plushy VHS case ones that I had seen. Anyway, I believe this was at my great aunt Jean's house in Michigan. Like the one time we made the trip to visit her. this was also, I believe, the same visit that we discovered I was allergic to cats, because I played with her cat all day and I was very like interested in the cat's like bone structure. So I kind of just like felt up a cat all day, like not felt up, but like I was very interested in all like the bony parts and the shapes and like where the ribs were. So when I was like covered in hives and swollen, itchy face, that's how we figured out I was allergic.
You've told me this story many times,
Yeah.
and never have you made it sound like you weren't a psychopath as a child.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's correct.
Great.
That's how you should be hearing it.
Good.
So anyway, I also saw Sleeping Beauty, I think that time.
Huh.
But it was a similar, seeing it now, because I hadn't seen it since then, which was probably like 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing it now, I remembered nothing. Like anything that I remembered was because, okay, a lot of things just happened at once, right?
All right, name it.
My ice cracked and it made a ping sound.
Like really loud.
And immediately after, our TV like flashed the screen and then turned on.
For some reason.
I think the ice is Elsa here? Sorry, so sensory overload.
Yeah.
The scenes that I remember from Sleeping Beauty, quote unquote, remember, are I think just scenes that Disney plays when they're talking about Sleeping Beauty in a montage of things. They're like, the old classic, Snow White, and it's her dancing with the dwarves. Sleeping Beauty, Prince Philip taking a sword to those thorns. Like, like many other movies we've mentioned on the podcast, there was a sing-along video for Once Upon a Dream.
I was about to say.
I definitely knew that scene.
Most old Disney movies, you at least know from sing-along.
Whatever was on that Owls video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That owl was great.
He was.
Nice guy.
So yeah, I know this movie foremost as kind of like what kind of, I don't want to say like lost Walt on animation, but it didn't do very well critically or box office wise. And so Walt kind of at this point, and he's still 7 years away from his death, but he kind of goes, okay, now I'm a live action guy. This animation can keep happening, but I'm not really going to be involved.
Is this where he goes to South America, or is that after Dumbo?
No, that was because of the war.
That was the war.
No, this is where he goes to like Mary Poppins.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you. Thank you for putting me in a time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah. But
speaking of time, do you want to set up?
I would if I had my phone on me. Do I have my phone on me?
Well, you know what? I have my phone on me.
Oh, no.
You could use a different timer.
Oh, no.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Sorry. Cookie timer. Not
I guess.
Today.
Oh, no. We'll make up a new cookie song.
I figured out what we were supposed to order on Amazon.
An external battery?
Yep.
That I did order yesterday morning.
Seriously?
Boom.
Proud of you. All right.
This is why we need to write things down, because otherwise we just go over shopping lists while recording a podcast.
All right, Kate.
Yeah.
I'm going to put 2 minutes on the non-cookie
on a timer. Oh, no.
I don't even know what noise this is going to make.
Well, I definitely won't come in under the 2 minutes if it's not a cookie timer.
Well, you're going to
How could you even expect?
All right, you're going to tell us about
Sleeping Beauty.
Sleeping Beauty. Ready?
Uh-huh.
Go.
Baby princess born. Her name is Aurora. All the fairies come to give her gifts. She's betrothed to a 6-year-old boy. That's weird. And then one fairy who's evil comes and says, yo, I wasn't invited to this party. You're cursed. 16th birthday, you die because you touch a spindle. And the family goes, oh no. And the one fairy that's left is like, okay, well, you're just going to go to sleep when you touch a spindle because I can't totally undo this. Anyway, they're like, cool. We're going to hide her from Maleficent, this evil fairy, for 16 years. And that'll take care of the problem. And so they do, and on her 16th birthday eve, she's wandering in the forest. She's been raised by these 3 fairies, and Flora, Fauna, Merryweather, and she is talking about like how she sees this prince in her dreams, and oh, a prince comes out of the forest, and oh, it's her betrothed, but she doesn't know that, but she falls in love, and she's like, fairies, I'm falling in love, and they're like, oh no, that's not good because you're betrothed. Anyway, it's your 16th birthday, let's get you back to the castle because we can't just wait another day. Anyway, they bring her to the castle under like cloak of night, but then Maleficent, she's evil, so she just like puts her under a spell, green glowy light, leads her down this like fireplace invisible hallway, and then she pricks her finger on a spindle because that's what happens. She falls asleep, and then the fairies put the whole kingdom to sleep. Oh, I've got lots of time.
You got a lot of time.
I'm the cookie timer. It works in a different way.
My timer's a little longer.
Anyway.
It's a little longer. 2 minutes.
So the fairies put the whole kingdom to sleep because that's, I guess, better than everyone panicking. And then the only way she can wake up is her true love's kiss. And so then they send Prince Philip is somewhere, and then he has to hack through all these thorns that Maleficent has put up. And oh, by the way, she's also a dragon. And then he kills the dragon by stabbing it, and then he awakens Sleeping Beauty with true love's kiss. And then they're like, oh, yay, we're going to get married. Oh, and it was our betrothed and our happy ending because we're in actual love, not just marrying because we have to. Cookies are done. Cookies are done. Cookies are done.
That still worked.
Thanks.
Hey, Kate, nice job.
I tried.
How would you say this holds up when compared to the source material of Descendants 1 through 3?
I really enjoyed Maleficent. Like I love
She's amazing, right?
I love Kristen Chenoweth. Why didn't I don't know. It just seems they didn't in Descendants. I don't think like push at the like badass evilness anywhere near what they could have, even with Kristen Chenoweth in that role.
Which I think is what they're going for with like the Angelina Jolie.
Yes, yeah,
is like the badassness.
Yeah,
but
yeah, Descendants is a different beast. But yeah, Maleficent is cool. She's got really cool fire. Like, I've mentioned this before that like especially with Pixar, you can tell like what the new thing they learned how to do is, right? Like it's fur in Monsters, Inc. and it's water in Finding Nemo. I feel like the thing that they learned how to do here was fire.
Because there is fire all over this movie.
Everything that Maleficent touches is green fire.
That's so cool.
There's orange fire in like the big battle scene at the end. And I guess there is in Bambi and, Dumbo, but it looks really good.
It's great.
It's, stylized and really cool.
Yeah.
This movie is funny.
Yeah.
Were you expecting it to be funny?
I did not expect to laugh out loud at this movie, and I did.
Especially coming off of Dumbo, where a lot of it was just like, okay.
I get it.
Like, this is cute, but it's not funny.
Yeah. But no, this movie was legit funny and had, like, a couple of jokes that, like, I feel like have come around to being back in style. Mm-hmm. I think that's something you observed. You were like, was this movie made this year with that joke? What's going on?
Yeah, it reads as really smart 2019 humor. Yeah. Especially the two kings and every way they interact.
Oh, they're great.
The two kings of these neighboring kingdoms that have betrothed their youngins.
I mean, like it's a classic like Odd Couple or like vaudeville pair or whatever, but it just holds up.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of like the dynamic like in a Danny Kaye movie of like two of the male leads, like this kind of like this banter, but like neither of them are super competent. But this banter is like they're being witty, but they're not as witty as they think they are. And then the one pulls out a fish for a sword. Like that was great.
Oh, and then he resheathed it.
Yeah.
At the end.
Yeah. Yes.
The
resheath, that was the 2019 thing. Like that was the
like he used a fish for a sword.
Funny.
That's funny, but when then he sheathes the fish
because he just picks it up off of the table. There's like they're in a kitchen.
Killed me.
Yeah.
Killed me.
And the fairies, like you had remembered the fairies more.
I loved the fairies, and I remembered their names: Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather. Which I am 100% certain I have said at least once in my life instead of Nina, Pinta, and Santa Maria. I loved the fairies when I was a kid, and I'm happy to say I still love them. They have a very fun dynamic. They're really funny. They're not like Dumbo, all the female characters are like
bitches.
Yeah. And like very much like we are sending up women.
Yeah.
Boy, this will show them.
Yeah.
I feel like
when I say bitches, I mean males creating angry, nasty females.
Yeah.
Like
but these three fairies they're nice, they're sweet. Like they all have like distinct personalities. Merriweather is not the brightest.
Nope.
And I love her and her like animation. Mm-hmm. She does like these little shakes.
Yeah, like a shimmy.
She does.
It reminded me of the Shaq and the kitty cat shimmy.
The Shaq and kitty cat gift. Yeah. So she is my favorite. I enjoy it very much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Kate, one thing I did want to ask, is Maleficent a fairy?
So in the original version, like the first fairy tale, and in the ballet, she is like just a big bad fairy.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I think she might be sleeping in Disney's too.
She might be.
I think she might be classified as a fairy.
I don't think it's said explicitly, but that easily could be true.
But here's the thing. I think it could be because there is a narrator in this movie.
All through this movie.
Yeah. It's weird. And it doesn't super work.
It's efficient.
Yeah.
I find it, and again, this is a movie I saw a lot when I was like young. So I find it like comforting to have the narrator. I'm like, oh, this old familiar friend telling me the story.
There's definitely a lot of efficiency, especially in the first kind of act, not the first. What am I trying to think of? Oh my goodness, exposition is the word I was looking for. Yeah. I think this is also the movie that's identified as like when Disney starts cutting costs on their animation a little bit.
Interesting.
And I wonder if that's related.
No.
So Wikipedia, Disney version, calls her an evil fairy. She's just taller. She's just human-sized all the time.
Kate, so speaking of Wikipedia, I would like you to go to the search bar of Wikipedia because I need you to look something up for me.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm going to talk about the next movie.
Yeah.
Go ahead and go up to that search bar and type in the name of our next movie.
The Swan Princess.
I believe it's called Swan Princess.
It's not, but I'll type in that to humor you.
Swan Princess.
Swan Princess. Horse.
Uh-huh.
That's the first entry that comes up. The first
entry for Swan Princess is Swan Princess.
Yeah.
Parentheses.
Clearly,
horse.
The British thoroughbred who lived from 78 to 99. A racehorse and broodmare.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like a racehorse. That's funny.
Yeah. Swan Princess. Horse.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, I will say that when you do type in The Swan Princess, which is the name of our other movie,
it says horse.
Look at all the individual titles of sequel spin-off garbage that show up.
Excellent.
It's too many.
Oh, yeah, there's like 10 of these things.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. At least 9 here on the search bar.
That was Counting with Dick and Kate. That's going to be a Patreon exclusive. But you got a sneak peek of it. Kate, what was your first experience with the Swan Princess parentheses horse?
I had not seen it as a child. My first experience of it was like playing at friends' houses who really liked to create like very dramatic, like fictional interactions, like kind of like it started as Barbies, but then it got like really intense, and there was like actual drama with it of like this person is leaving the family or this person is divorcing this character. And what I remember is around this time, some of my friends start using the name Odette to name random, like not the Swan Princess Barbie, but like random, like, oh, my name is Odette in this story. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, you can't choose Ariel or Belle or Jasmine. You have to choose the fake princess. Odette. Fine.
Yeah.
Because I very much view this as like, oh, it's not a Disney movie,
therefore
so it's not
fake.
A movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. but I certainly knew it existed. And I certainly thought it was better than this. Right? Because, like, other things are better. I think Thumbelina might be okay. We haven't watched that. But, like, I remember watching it growing up. Even, like, We're Back is pretty bad, but it's okay.
I think Swan Princess is going to be interesting because I think we both have a similar opinion of it, but there are some high points in this movie.
And I think it does probably have a strong nostalgia element to it. If you saw this movie, it's the same time as Lion King. It's when you're already obsessed with Aladdin and Beauty and the Beast, if you're that kind of kid. And so if you did see it, you probably have some of the same feelings toward it. So there is the disclaimer. Yeah. If you have strong feelings toward the Swan Princess.
Or Beauty and the Beast.
Watch it again. And then if you still have strong feelings, this might not be the podcast episode for you.
Yeah, or maybe watch Beauty and the Beast again.
Or just watch Beauty and the Beast. I see what you're saying.
So, this is my first time seeing the Swan Princess. That's all.
Did you know of it growing up?
I feel like I had seen something about it, and I think in my mind, if you asked me, I would have said, yeah, is that Down Below?
Right, yeah.
And it's not. It's someone who spun off from Disney at around the same time, but is much more Mormon about it.
He was fired from Oliver and Company.
Oh.
He was fired off directing Oliver and Company.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's interesting. The director, it appears, if he is not Mormon, he has done an awful lot of animation with the Church of Latter-day Saints in the last 30 years.
Yeah.
The composer is definitely
well.
Mormon.
Like
that's in his Wikipedia
Azevedo,
biography.
So,
and here's the thing, like Mormons love musical theater.
Yeah,
they really do.
Yeah.
So it's not surprising that they go this route of like, well, Disney's making a bunch of animated musicals. We love wholesome family entertainment. We love musicals.
Let's go.
Let's go for this.
Yeah,
it sounds like a good idea.
I understand that completely. Cool. Should I do this thing?
Yes. If good luck to you.
Thank you. I'm gonna start the cookie timer, and then switch to Wikipedia so I remember all the characters' names because I'm good at that. And here we go. Cookie timer is started. All right. So Princess Audette is a girl, and there's a boy named Prince Derek. They are princes and princesses. It is the people who are in charge of them, who are maybe their parents, conspire to make them hang out all the time, or like once a summer.
Every summer.
So that eventually they fall in love with each other and get married. It's a very confusing thing. Anyway, Audette gets turned into a swan by this magical
Rothbart
villain named Rothbart, who does this in order to take over the kingdom. And also he kills the king. Yeah, that all happens.
Yeah, that is true. Mm-hmm.
And this happens right after Derek proposes to Audette. And she's like, wait, do you just love me because I'm beautiful? And he's like, what else is there? Not smooth, Derek. And so we're like, oh, maybe there's like some girl power to this, but it turns out not really. Anyway, so she's turned into a swan, and Derek searches for her and then murders her almost murders her because he thinks she's like a great animal that Rothbart turned into. You're laughing at me because I'm doing a bad job of this.
Keep going. You're doing great.
He almost murders her, and then he realizes it's her, and then he almost marries someone pretending to be her, like at the end of Little Mermaid, but then a swan comes crashing through the window, and then he marries the swan.
Well, don't they break the spell?
They break the spell, and then
so
he marries her.
she's not a swan anymore.
When she's not a swan anymore.
Because Rothbart dies?
Yeah.
Cookies are done. Cookies. I'm laughing for two reasons. One, because I'm not sure I could have done that better.
I thought that was going to be easier.
Second, because you went into that with the confidence of Orpha going into the Pontius Pilate role in that all-female Jesus Christ Superstar that we saw.
Wow, this is a reference that everyone's going to get.
Well, I want to explain it
Yes.
because we saw an all-female like concert version of Jesus Christ Superstar.
Yeah.
It sounded like a good idea, but no one had had any rehearsal time.
No one practiced.
The band did a great job. They were trying their best.
And like 1 or 2 performers were pretty good.
But and I haven't seen Orpha in anything else. People seem to like love her. She has like an amazing belt. She was Pontius Pilate, and like I don't know if she's listened to the show before like she had her script with her, right? She had her music with her, but like Jesus Christ Superstar does a lot of things with like meter that you don't expect, and like multiple times, and she in like Pontius Pilate, nothing is really a big role in that show. Everyone gets like 3 songs, and she did not have any of them. It would like she went up on lines and just like didn't sing, or like would skip ahead, and the poor conductor, she had to like follow. But she was very confidently standing up there in her like black leather getup. Like
she looked great.
She looked great.
She fooled me for a little while. I was like, oh, this is a neat take.
Give me the confidence of an Orpha who thinks she has it and has not practiced at all.
Give me the confidence of a mediocre pig with an amazing spider.
That's a Wilbur reference. Yeah. But Dick, you did a good job.
Thanks.
You did. At least there wasn't a conductor who had to follow you. It was just an independent endeavor.
All right. So I know we normally like sit down and write out some things that we want to talk about with these movies and try and hit them all. I'm going to hit you with one that I don't think we put down. And I'm
Go
doing
for
it. Marrying Children. Both of these movies are like, these kids are getting married.
So this is interesting, right? Because the first 5-ish, not 5 minutes, like the first 3 minutes of each movie are kind of identical.
Yeah, they're really like, I was like, oh, these are almost the same movie at the beginning.
Baby princess being presented to a court. And there's a boy who is a few years older who is being told this is who you're going to marry. And there's an evil character lurking who definitely wants to take over the throne. Yes, Dick.
That sounds like Lion King, too.
A
little bit. Not the very intro, but there is like the evil character lurking who wants to take over the throne. And Simba is told that he's going to marry Nala one day.
But not in the first literal 3 minutes.
I know.
There's not literally a boy peeking into his bassinet. There's a shot in both movies of a small boy peeking into a bassinet and going, ew.
I'm not going to marry a baby.
So at least that's nice.
You know what? Correct. You should not marry a baby.
That this old
gross.
norm seems gross now. In 1959 and 94. Good on everyone.
The interesting thing, though, is that Sleeping Beauty is like, we're not, like, look, they're to get arranged to be married. That's what's happening. Mm-hmm. And Swan Princess, I don't know if this is from the ballet or not, but Swan Princess is instead of like, this prince and princess are betrothed, it's like, this prince and this princess are gonna see each other a little bit each year until eventually they fall. Like, it's adults scheming on a way to manipulate these two people into falling in love from a very young age. It's so creepy.
Well, yes. And I do like, there's a lot going on in the first song in Swan Princess.
Yes, there is.
It's like 3 different prologues in one. But one of the things this scene, this like sequence does, is it establishes that these two kids like prank each other all the time. They hate each other.
Yeah.
That's a neat dynamic to go off of. You know, by now it's a little overdone. 94, a little bit less so. Mm-hmm. But it's certainly not Disney, right? It's like, it's this new thing. It kind of feels a little bit fresher. It kind of feels like, all right, like this princess is a tomboy. She's like throwing, slingshot stuff at her betrothed and his friends. Like, that's neat. It'll give her something to do. And then it quickly spirals out once they're adults.
Oh yeah, she becomes a normal girl.
Yeah. Like she rejects engagement proposal.
I'm throwing quotes around normal, by the way.
Sure.
Yeah, she's a tomboy. And then one
Beautiful
summer,
dresses.
she's a beautiful, elegant princess.
Yeah, with like long flowing hair, not in pigtails.
It's a weird move.
So he proposes to her. Yeah, you're beautiful. What else is there? And she's like, no, screw that. Which again, nice. Like that's nice. But then as soon as she becomes a swan, like the first night that she is turned back into a human, because that's the way it works. Like moonlight is out and she turns into a person.
She turns into a person
swan.
if she is on that pond, on that lake, and the moon hits her wings.
Which was never really a plot device that came into play until the end, but then the spell was broken anyway.
It's a weird thing.
Anyway, so literally the first thing she says when she gets human on this lake is, I need to find Prince Derek to give me true love's kiss because we're meant to be together. And it's like, what?
Yeah,
the last interaction you had was you telling him off.
Yeah, it's a very weird love. Whereas like,
she just turns on a dime just because she needs him now to not be a swan forever. But it's not given that motivation.
Or the message that I took from it was, women never say what they really want, and when they say no, they actually mean yes. Yeah, I mean that's kind of what it is. Like she leaves that wedding, and like he's upset because he messed up, but she's upset because she messed up.
But it's not really. This is not a well-written movie.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer.
What is interesting is that neither of these princes, both of these princes are creations for these respective movies.
What?
Yes, absolutely.
Tell me more.
Swan Lake has a Prince Siegfried.
Awesome.
Who does who meets Odette after she has become cursed. So they don't grow up together. There's no betrothal. He meets Odette with...
Why do you take a cool name like Siegfried and just be like...
Derek? Yeah, because they kept Derek? Odette.
Yeah, if you're going to keep Odette, keep Siegfried.
Yeah.
Like, don't...
So one, there's that. And then also there's a bunch of other human women who have been cursed into swans by Rothbart.
Cool.
And that's why it's called Swan Lake, because they all live on the same pond. But it seems like she's the only one in this movie. Yeah. Anyway, so there's no Prince Derek. And in The Sleeping Beauty, no Prince Philip, no betrothed. Sleeping Beauty, instead of sleeping for 3 hours, sleeps for 100 years.
Oh.
And then it's a new prince living 100 years from now, who's the right age, that is chosen by the fairies. You're going to be the one to break the spell.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. But
kind of more interesting.
It is, and I think it is interesting that both of these movies chose to give the prince and the princess some kind of prior relationship before the happy ever after.
Yeah.
Because Snow White definitely doesn't, right? No. There's a little bit, I think they meet once, right, at the end of the I Am Wishing, but it's not an interaction that is notable enough to make you care about them as a couple. But Sleeping Beauty, 20 years later? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like at least the pretense of, well, we can't just have him come out of nowhere. And that's kind of nice.
And there's a couple of cringy bits where it's oh, this is clearly the 50s where grabbing a woman tightly by the arm to stop her from running away is acceptable.
Yeah.
So there's a couple moments like that, but generally I think the relationship is kind of cute.
Mm-hmm.
He comes in the middle of her singing to herself, Once Upon a Dream. He pops in. She's dancing with the owl.
Well, with his literal clothes.
Yeah, with the clothes that her animal friends have stolen. And he pops in and takes the last two lines of the chorus. Mm-hmm. And it's a really cool introduction for that character. And it's a moment that I definitely remember. Mm-hmm. And if I'm listening to the song, I can picture it exactly in my head.
But also that character is introduced as an adult before that scene. He has some comedic things with his horse, who's essentially Max from Tangled.
Yeah.
And like
Sleeping Beauty, horse.
That was nice too, because like princes don't get characterizations up to this point.
Yeah.
Sleeping Beauty,
yes!
Of course, I got it.
Yes.
But this is the first prince that I like.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I haven't seen Cinderella in a while, but I don't think he has anything to do.
This one, and I do not mean this as a pun, is charming.
Yeah. Actually charming.
He's lovely. Like,
screw you with the name.
He seems like kind of a sweet guy. He's very much, like, instantly in love. He's, like, I don't know, 20 at this point.
Yeah.
22.
If she's 16,
something like that. So, I mean, that's a little weird, but that's what we got.
It's also a nice arc that they think each other are straight. Like, they both figure out at some point that they're supposed to be betrothed to this unnamed prince or princess. And they fall in love in this dance scene. And they say, I've met a stranger and I'm in love with them.
Yeah.
And so it kind of does a twist on, well, I just love you because you're a prince and that's what I'm supposed to do. It's, no, I found you on my own. I'm choosing this. And then it happens to match what the parents want.
It just works out really well.
It's very handy.
It's like, no, this is the person I love. Oh.
But that little bit of agency as opposed to, and maybe Cinderella is super feminist and I'm forgetting it, but like this idea of, well, I want to marry a prince, right? Like she wants to go to the ball before she's really met the prince, I believe. And Snow White is just like, this is an adult male I've seen.
We'll get into Cinderella at another time.
Yeah. But I like the idea that they meet and they choose each other as opposed to just having it be an inevitability.
Like Ash and Pikachu.
Right.
All the choosing.
Right. Yeah. Pikachu's you.
Aww.
Pikachu choose you.
Aww. So another way that the Swan Princess and Beauty and the Beast are similar is the music.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, I've been dropping Beauty and the Beast a lot.
I have forgotten. We literally watched this movie 2 days ago, and a lot of it has been just wiped from my memory. I've blacked it out.
There's an intro song. It's a pretty long song.
It's a pretty long song. Dick, if I drop like an accompaniment track, would you like do some improv of like the song?
Yeah.
Okay. I am the
Swan Princess that's something. Okay. That didn't work out. It's Belle.
It's Belle, and it's almost specifically Maurice's theme, that kind of like at the fair vibe. There's a lot of Belle in it too, because those tracks are related. But yeah.
But yeah, it's straight out of.
Someone listened to a Mencken score and thought, I could do this.
Yeah, this is post Beauty and the Beast.
It's post Beauty and the Beast
by not that long.
It is timed exactly correctly for someone to have gone into a theater, said, "Oh shit, this is really good," gone home and just written that.
Yeah.
Right, and just like directly lifted it.
And like even the
I don't think that's the intent. I don't think the intent is to steal. I think the intent is to sound like another successful musical at the time.
Yeah, I think it's imitation more than theft.
Yes.
But yeah, even like the lyrics where Beauty and the Beast is, here comes that baker with his tray like always. Da 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 da. This is like, here comes that baker with his tray like always. Da 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 da.
There's those, but you're being very kind to the text setting in this movie too.
I don't remember the text.
Yeah,
it's not great.
There's the technical term, we call it scansion. The text setting is not great. Like none of these syllables fall in the melodies the way anyone would speak them.
Yeah, so there's a lot of really off.
Look at that baker with the tray like always. But like. It was really weird, like rhythmic patterns and phrases that would cut off sentences.
On the wrong syllable.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah. These songs were not good.
So, I will say generally, yes. The intro song was the point where we looked at each other and we said, I don't think this is very good, but I'm having a lot of fun here.
But it's fun. Because what the intro song, like the hook is like, this isn't what I think is fun, or this isn't what I consider fun.
This isn't my idea.
This isn't my idea of fun. As they're growing up and spending summers with each other. And then it comes back, like, when they, like, grow up and they're like, oh, I guess you're sexy now. This is my idea of fun. So it's not done super well, but there is thought there of, like, it's, you know, it's a musical theater thing where you repeat it and then you change it a little bit, twist it a little bit, and then it means something else. That's nice.
Let's talk a little bit about Far Longer Than Forever.
Da 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 da.
Uh-huh.
Da 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 da.
Yeah.
The critics said that at the time too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the song isn't Beauty and the Beast, but it wants
It's a lot
you
of
to
those
think about.
Yeah, it's like step and skip that kind of downward.
Yeah. And you can't, again, this is like not long.
No.
This isn't like 30 years later where it's like, okay, you know what?
We've just run out of melodies. Yeah. No.
It's just straight out the Beauty and the Beast.
Lifted.
It's so weird. Yeah. So there's that.
It's really jarring in this movie. That is the best song, even if it lifts from. I feel like it's the song that I'm.
The Belle song or the Beauty and the Beast song?
No, the Far Longer Than Forever.
Interesting.
That's the one they put out as like the pop
My favorite was the Belle song.
Yeah. That's the best musical theater.
Yeah.
The Far Longer Than Forever, I can see if I was a kid, like, I'd sing that. I'd listen to that. Like, I might be like, oh, yeah, well, it sounds like Beauty and the Beast. That's how songs sound.
That's how
like,
songs are.
Come on.
There are 3 bands. Their names are Beauty and the Beast, Pocahontas, and Aladdin.
That's correct. Like, what you just said hit deeper than you might even known.
You're welcome.
What is interesting, though, is even though these songs are... So, besides those 2 songs, there are, like, maybe 6 more songs.
There are a lot of songs in
there. There are more songs than there need to be.
And some of them are, like, most of them are fine.
Most of them are good ideas. I would love to hear the Menken Ashman version of that, like, the musicians are dressed up as animals so we can practice hunting them.
Yeah.
Like, Howard Ashman would have written a great lyric to that.
Oh, my God, he would have been hilarious.
But the song was just dumb.
Yeah.
But what does, like, kind of, like, warp my brain and trick me is that they got the same caliber singing talent as Disney movies.
Yeah.
Liz Calloway.
Well, Liz Calloway is the same... she was Anastasia, right?
She's Anastasia, and she's Jasmine in the sequels.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Or at least in the Return of Jafar, she's singing Jasmine.
Yeah, and Liz Calloway is like Broadway.
She's Broadway. Yeah, she's Anastasia. She's
Oh, also Lion King too.
Oh, well, it's too bad I'll never hear her in that. No, I did.
And she's a dancing napkin ring in Beauty and the Beast. So there you go.
Sure. She has a delightful voice, and it sounds obviously like all the musical theater that we grew up with. So when you hear her sing, it's like, oh, this is a good song. No, it's not a good song, but she's singing the crap out of it. So I'm tricked. Similarly with Prince Derek, who's played, do you have the name up? He's played by the longest running Phantom. He sounded amazing.
That is Chamberlain, not Prince Derek.
Howard something?
Davis Gaines.
Oh, maybe I was looking on the wrong Wikipedia.
Howard McGillin. Oh.
Yeah, Howard McGillin.
Sorry. Howard McGillin is the longest running Phantom in Phantom of the Opera.
There we go.
Davis Gaines, who is the singing voice of Chamberlain, has performed as the Phantom in Phantom of the Opera more than 2,000 times.
Oh. Who's Chamberlain?
I don't know, but there are 2.
Is he like that Little Mermaid manservant?
2 Phantom of the Opera mainstays.
So someone knew someone who worked for Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So you've got those. You've got David Zippel, who is not super known as a performer, but he's a songwriter, lyricist, as well as a director, producer. He did lyrics for
Hercules and Mulan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you've got
all this singing talent.
Yeah.
And then there's
Well, and then like the
There's Lord
composer
Rothbart.
sings for Rothbart, and he's not a good singer.
It's not great.
A lot of composers aren't. That's fine.
Yeah, that's
But
okay.
why would you step into... He just really liked the jazzy song that he wrote for the villain, so he's like, I'm going to sing this.
Or maybe Jack Palance was
And
just
it's
like,
not
I'm
good.
not singing that.
It's dumb.
Yeah.
It's like not even fun villain jazz. Like, if it was campy, I'd be like, okay, but it's just kind of weird. Like, I think he thinks it's Be Prepared, and it's certainly not.
It is in no way.
And then
Be
it like
Prepared.
he sings a line of it later as he's about to like curse the whole kingdom, and it's meant to be this like spooky, like, oh, this is a great way to bring this line back.
You
but
know
it
what
just
it is?
it just makes you laugh out loud, and it does the
It's-
opposite of what it's supposed to.
It's Friends on the Other Side, but bad.
Yeah.
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 100%.
Yeah.
Because it's even got that reprise where you're like,
Yeah. And
This
it
should be
works
great.
in Friends on the Other Side because it's good.
yeah.
Yeah. And it's spooky, right? Like it's fun and jazzy, but it's spooky. The villain song here is just goopy.
Yeah.
He's basically like setting out his climaxing plan of like
Yeah.
his like old woman like Goonie is going to transform into an Odette lookalike so that she'll trick Prince Derek into giving a vow to her.
It's the end of Little Mermaid.
It's
but
the end of Little
worse.
Mermaid, but Ursula doesn't need a song about it. She just does it. She
does
just goes
it,
out
'cause
and
she's
does
a
it.
badass.
Yeah.
She's a girl boss. Yes. Yes.
Don't- let's not-
Ursula's
let's not-
slay. All right.
Let's not taint Ursula with the term girl boss. Ursula's awesome. I don't want that
Ursula-
language around
Ursula
her.
kicks ass.
Yeah.
Okay. So
But interestingly, Swan Lake does not use any Tchaikovsky music.
the Swan Princess.
The Swan Princess
does not use.
does not use Swan Lake music.
Okay.
So many swans.
It uses something.
It does not.
It uses something,
It uses some classical music.
but it's not from.
I cannot get a confirmation on the internet that any Tchaikovsky music is used in The Swan Princess.
That's insane.
There is a sequence, where they're like doing the moat and the alligators.
Yeah,
and
you know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know I've heard
it's
this
kind of like the
before.
use of the can in Little Mermaid. Mm-hmm. Right? It's like this popular piece, but they like synth it up. There are some 80s leftovers in this score that are really weird.
Yeah.
They learned weird lessons from Disney.
It's lovely.
Very interesting.
But now, the other movie that we watched, Sleeping Beauty, has
Exclusively Tchaikovsky music in it.
and not much of it with lyrics.
No.
Not a ton of it. There's
Some of it.
the intro has lyrics.
Mm-hmm. It's like a fanfare type thing.
It's a fanfare thing. Obviously, Once Upon a Dream has lyrics. What else? There's another song or two in there somewhere, right? Did the fairies sing a song?
I'm looking at the track listing and I don't.
Does the King sing a song? Are there two songs in this whole movie?
I think you're thinking of Pippin.
I might be. I'm often thinking of Pippin. I love Pippin.
Oh no, there's Scumps, the drinking song.
Scumps. Yeah, the King does sing a song.
Yeah, he does. You're right.
Yeah, Scumps. That's a
Scumps is
fun
like
one.
what, like Cheers, kind of,
I guess.
or not? I don't know. That was.
You're like, what is he saying? Scumps? I'm like, yes, Scumps. What else would he? Why would you not say Scumps?
So I assume that a lot of this is Tchaikovsky. I thought all of it was, and now I'm not 100% sure.
It seems
but
like they definitely did use Tchaikovsky.
we'll give you some research when we release this episode.
Kate will give you some research.
Yeah, I will.
I will not. So they use some Tchaikovsky and very little, like for Disney, who I feel like in my mind, I think of a Disney movie, I think of a musical. This has a couple of sung songs.
Yeah. But it's more for, like, Once Upon a Dream works really well. And I don't think you need a song anywhere else. And
No.
that's it. And I like that judicious use of, well, we're not trying to write a musical, so let's not cram it in where
Yeah.
it doesn't belong.
And I love I love a good villain song, but I also kind of love that Maleficent is not.
She does not have one.
She is not going to bother with the foolishness of singing.
Yeah, but hers would be awesome.
Hers would be awesome.
It'd be so good.
But I kind of like that. The idea that, like, probably not consciously, right? Because I don't think villain songs were super a thing yet.
Yeah.
But she's just like, it's just like, no, I don't. I'm not singing. I'm not even acknowledging, and I'm killing you for even suggesting it.
Yeah. So I am reading that they did hire someone to create a score based on Tchaikovsky.
Based on Tchaikovsky.
I mean, Once Upon a Dream is definitely Tchaikovsky.
Yeah.
And I imagine there are a couple others, but they had originally hired composers to just write a new score. And then when they decided that it was going to be more based on Tchaikovsky, those composers were let go and they hired someone who could kind of do an Alan Menken doing Carnival of the Animals type of situation.
Which kind of feels Walt appropriate. Because he's the classical music buff. So...
And he's also
really
we don't want to
good
pay for as much as we could, and
really
we'll just steal things instead.
Hardworking people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the music in Sleeping Beauty, one song I can remember, nothing else I can super remember.
But the score is really nice.
The score is gorgeous.
It's very supportive. It's very, because it is classically based, it's very epic. So like those battle scenes are really
they're amazing.
Well done. Like yeah.
Yeah,
nice.
it fills the background beautifully. Just like the backgrounds in this movie.
Yeah.
I could not stop talking about how good the backgrounds are in Sleeping Beauty.
They're so unique.
Yeah.
Even for Disney. Like you've got the planing. They do a lot of planing in this movie.
Yeah.
They're really excited about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the backgrounds are, I wouldn't call it photorealistic. But I would certainly call it more realistic, especially in contrast to their character designs.
Interesting.
Which, like, the character designs are basically the 1959 version of Snow White, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's not a ton of evolution there, but the backgrounds are just, like a little bit, maybe surreal is the word?
Yeah, that's where I would put them. Because they're a little bit flat.
There's a different level of detail.
They've taken the three-dimensional background and flattened it a little bit, and that's really neat to look at. Like it almost looks like they're like instead of a rock in the background, it almost looks like it's a cardboard cutout of a rock,
like stage.
Yeah,
set.
It almost looks like
I wonder if that's intentional.
And it's very detailed and very nice looking.
That's what I was gonna say. That it looks flat, but I feel like there's more like nooks and crannies in the trees than I'm used to seeing in a Disney movie, which is neat. I liked it a lot.
Like you were telling me that you were saying that the budget was lower on this, and this is where Disney was cutting some corners. But I wonder if that's a spot where they didn't, or maybe that's before they.
Well, but those are also very still pieces, so you just have to draw them once. Yeah.
But absolutely gorgeous artwork.
I know this was 1959, but the budget on this movie was $6 million. I'm gonna look up the movie before it for reference.
And for comparison, by the way, Swan Princess budget was $21 million.
And what did it make in the box office, Dick? $9 million. It came out
$9.8 million.
It did not come out directly against The Lion King, but it came out like one of the re-releases that same year of The Lion King, because Disney knew what it had, and so like every 4 months for a year, it was like, here's The Lion King again.
Back in theaters.
Yeah. So it did not do well in theater.
It did not do well.
Is it a 1950 film as Cinderella? I'm just going to go with Cinderella because that's
We're
close-ish.
just going to talk about Cinderella today.
No, I'm just looking for budget. Oh, no, Cinderella was less. So maybe $6 million is a good budget. I don't know.
Like, $6 million is a lot of money.
Yeah.
Mallrats had a budget of $6 million. That's a thing I know.
Let's talk about Mallrats. No, that's not.
Yeah, I really liked that movie when it came out. It really resonated with me. I don't think I should watch it again. I think I want... Because I was a teenage boy, and I feel like I don't want to ruin my memories by being like, oh...
Yeah.
Oh, being a teenage boy meant that I was dumb. Apologies to any teenage boys listening.
Aw.
But also, you'll get smarter.
You'll get smarter. It's okay.
Don't worry.
Dick, you mentioned Maleficent and how she's like too cool for a song.
Oh my god.
We've also mentioned Ursula right now. We've
Yeah.
mentioned Rothbart because we had to.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit more about Maleficent in like the grander tradition of Disney villains? Like, how would you rank her, or like what is her position?
She is
number one, isn't she?
She is the number one ranked villain.
Like that's not a personal
that's not a personal
so
rank.
much as
that's canon. Like at the Disney parade, she's the cool giant fire breathing dragon that sometimes melts itself. When they do like villains nights, Maleficent is the last one out, and she's the boss of all the villains.
She's at like the top of all the villains' t-shirt and merch.
In Descendants, she's like the head of the villains. Like it's Disney canon. Maleficent is the villain, and also in the movie, she does say that she is the devil.
Interesting. Yeah,
So,
she's got horns.
Like the only other actual Satan I know from Disney is Chernabog from Fantasia, who I had a t-shirt of when I was a kid. He's also the devil.
I think you could make a case for Oogie Boogie. He's a demon.
Is he
Right.
Disney?
Yeah.
Like now he is, right?
Well, he was then.
He
It was
was then?
distributed.
He's a demon, but he's not the devil.
No, he's not the devil. Okay, great.
Yeah, she's the devil.
I'm just thinking of like people with connections to
Yeah.
Hades.
I mean, Hades isn't the devil.
Hades is the Greek equivalent to the devil.
I mean, James Woods, yeah. Hades. I don't
Done.
know.
James Woods, king of the Disney villains. Put him on the merch.
Is Kevin Spacey in a Disney movie?
Yes.
Oh.
He is the villain of Bug's Life. Put him at the top of the shirts, guys.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. Good thing they weren't good characters,
gonna
right?
Get my Kevin Spacey James Woods shirts.
Ooh, boy.
Yeah, so Maleficent is at the top of the villain food chain.
So what do you think, like, what does that rubric look like? Like, what are the metrics that put her there, in your estimation?
Well, let me tell you. One, she may be the literal devil.
Sure.
Based on the text of this film. Two, she is unflappably badass. Like, the only time we see her not be in complete control is when she is in, like, raged out dragon form. Mm-hmm. And that's only because fairies use a magic sword to murder her. She just walks into a throne room. King's like, oh no, what are we cool? And she's like, no, we're not cool. I curse your baby. Bye. Like, turns around. Like, she's wearing this, like, amazing cape the whole time. So she's got the style.
Yeah.
She's got the look. Mm-hmm. And she's got the attitude. I don't know. I can't think of a cooler villain.
And it's interesting because a lot of, like, what you associate with Disney villains after this, she lines up with. And so it's almost like she becomes the pattern.
She's the prototype.
Because you have, like, Snow White's queen before this.
Queen.
You have the evil queen. You have a number of stepmothers and, like...
Yeah, you've got, like, Wicked Stepmother. You've got
Captain Hook, I guess.
Timothy the Mouse. You've got...
But this is the first one, like...
Pinocchio's got Gasparilla.
Pinocchio's got a couple. I'm kind of lost on... I need to see Pinocchio again. There's not, like, one villain.
I feel like there's not, like, a villain.
Yeah.
And then Maleficent is just like... Whoa.
Well, and certainly when we list all of those out and they're all kind of different archetypes, Maleficent is certainly in the same, if we're talking about like Disney family, right? Like what does a Disney princess look like? Well, from Ariel on, they have that face, even if it's CGI, right? Yeah. Like Elsa is clearly in the same universe as Ariel.
They have the same face.
Maleficent is clearly in the same universe as Ursula, as Scar, as Jafar. Like, they're more angular.
She looks a lot like Jafar and Maleficent, I see a lot of similarity.
Cousins, yeah.
In like their just proportions, in their facial length.
Frollo is a similar,
yep.
yeah.
And like you said, Scar is thinner, angular. Ursula is the exception, but
she's still angular.
She's angular.
Her face, her spiking hair, and
she has the big flowy tentacles instead of a big flowy cape.
Yeah.
And she has that theatricality. And I think that's something that comes into Disney villains, and it does also cause a lot of Disney villains to read as gay.
Queer coding.
Intentionally or not intentionally, but it seems like maybe intentionally. But it's like that theatricality is what really defines a good Disney villain. And oh man, she has it.
Yeah.
I don't use this word often. She's fierce. But she is in like the most real definition of that word. Jesus.
I think this might, I mean, and this is her like whole character, but this is something that visually people talk about afterwards. I think she might be the first, maybe Evil Queen has some, to use this like dead neon green kind of color scheme for like flame and glow, and her orb is that color.
Evil green.
It's that same color that Scar, slinks out of in Be Prepared. It's the same color that like that Ursula uses when she activates the magic spell, right? This like neon green that jokingly gets, kind of the same way. I mean, queer coding is not a joke, but like that's real. But it's kind of like, oh yeah, Disney villain, it's going to be coded queer. It's going to have a shiny green thing. Like these are the things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that what you said about theatricality. I think that is, for me, what rings the most true with like her being the prototype for everything that comes after and all the really awesome villains that come after.
So let's talk about Rothbart.
So yeah, where does he fit in with this, against this metric?
I don't understand Rothbart.
And neither did they. Neither did the creators of this movie.
Rothbart, here's the thing. I really want to like Rothbart.
Yeah.
I like the idea of him. But, and again, I didn't hate the Swan Princess. There are a lot of problems with it. There are some high points, mainly in the musical performances. Rothbart, he's a problem because his character design, he's supposed to be like an evil sorcerer, but his character design makes him look like he's a clumsy knight.
He looks like a Care Bear villain.
Yeah.
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 I mean, this whole thing looks Saturday morning cartoon. I thought it was going to be better animated. It was not.
Same. But he looks like he should be clumsy and bumbling. And he's not.
But he sometimes is.
But not like for comedic purposes.
He very clearly didn't have, or at least didn't have a good one, a character supervisor.
Yeah.
Because I feel like he morphs throughout the movie in like, he's like 4 different characters. He's sometimes this scary thing that can turn into this like weird dragon bat.
This
like
demon bat, yeah.
He looks like man bat.
Yeah.
And then sometimes he's this bumbling, like he asks Odette to marry him every night.
Yeah, why?
And it seems like more of a formality. Like, why not just kill her and take over the throne? But it also seems like maybe part of him, because he says, and you're kind of made to believe, at least in the scene that he says it, that it's in earnest, that we will rule the kingdom together, you and I. Like, maybe he just wants companionship, but then the next scene, he's like back to this weird, like, cartoony evil. It's like every scene is different, so I can't get a grasp on what he is, even if it's not the strongest interpretation. I felt like they molded him to whatever they needed to be in each scene.
Also, let me throw this out there. One, what do you think the relationship is between him and the weird woman that cackles behind him?
I don't know.
All right, is that his mom?
No.
Is that his sister? Are they friends? Is she like his servant?
I think she's like his lackey.
Okay, so she is completely devoted to him. She has at least as much personality as Odette does, or Odette. And we have seen that, like, he obviously doesn't care about Odette's personality. He's after her for her power and I guess her looks and youth.
Yeah.
We've seen that he can transform this woman who is devoted to him into a copy of Odette that will completely fool everyone. If all he needs to do is marry Odette, why doesn't he just marry this woman disguised as Odette?
So it could in the ballet, it is his sister that he disguises as Odette in the scene. It's not magic. I think it's just makeup. I don't know how the ballet presents it, but I don't think he's as much of a... Well, I guess he turns her into Swan. He has to have magic.
It's
anyway,
a whole thing.
It is his sister, and her name is Odile as opposed to Odette. It is not established in this movie. But it also seems like he's maybe not as good at... Like, she seems to transform back pretty quickly, right? Like, her face shows back up, even though she has, like, the blonde, flowy hair.
It's, like, only when she gets punched or something. I don't know. Look, the whole thing is very confusing. But Rothbart...
Yeah, I don't know why he can't just, even solo, take over the kingdom. Like, he killed the king.
Yeah.
Just kill a few more royal people.
Well, he said he...
Is there a curse? Is that...
He has an answer, which is, if you steal something, you spend the rest of your life making sure it doesn't get stolen back.
Uh-huh.
But if you take something, like, rightfully,
Quote,
then
unquote,
it's
earn
yours.
It. Yeah.
So the idea being, if he marries Odette and takes the kingdom legitimately, people are just going to be like, well, you're the king now.
Yeah.
But if he is like to take over the kingdom by force, then someone would take
It's
it from
far
him.
too high-minded for the movie that it's in. I missed it.
It really is. And it's a really interesting moment. And I'm really overthinking it because I've been learning a lot today about manufacturing consent and the way I've been reading/watching some Noam Chomsky and learning about the ways that a government or a ruling class will use a media to make a people think what they want. And that's kind of what Rothbard's saying. He's like, well, if I do it legitimately, everyone will say it's fine. Mm-hmm. So that's a weird... It's like a throwaway line in this movie, but it's the most interesting line in this movie.
It's so uneven, right? Like, there's some really interesting and unique care put into small parts of plot.
Yeah.
Not overarching plot.
No.
But just like little motivations where like, oh, this is why he has to marry Odette. Like, oh, that's, I guess, nice. But then you have these like frog and turtle and puffin characters.
Oh my God, I forgot.
Who are just garbage. They don't need to be there. They don't serve any purpose.
And also,
they like kind of mess things up for Odette.
You're like, hey, this movie, not only does it have Broadway caliber singers, two of whom have been the Phantom thousands of times. If you were to tell me that, and John Cleese and Stephen Wright, I'm like, well, John Cleese always performs, and Stephen Wright has a hilarious delivery that will be used very well.
I would say Stephen Wright works better than John Cleese.
I think that's true.
Because they have John Cleese do a French accent, and it doesn't go so well for him.
Why?
They're going for, and this, like, they're not outright stealing this, because this movie came out like 6 months before. They're going for a Timon and Pumbaa thing, but they didn't define either character well enough.
I mean, yeah, they're doing a Lumiere and Cogsworth thing. They're doing a buddy thing.
Yeah.
Where the two buddies are...
There's one, like, fast-talking one, and there's one that seems slower, but it's probably the smarter one.
They call me Speedy.
Yeah. I think it's just Speed.
Fine.
And that's in that song that they do, the one with the weird synth and drum stuff.
What?
They do a song where they're trying to steal that map because reasons.
That's a song? They do a song there?
Yeah. It's a song.
Remember.
It's the, like, no fear. It's like this, like, Broadway patter song, and then they, like, no fear. Ba-da-now. Like, this weird synth riff and, like, artificial drums.
Yeah,
it's weird.
The synth riff and artificial drums are just for the chorus, and then they're gone.
They're just for the words, no fear. And then it's like,
oh, it's so weird.
Now I'm in a Pippin mode, but
you're just doing Pippin.
But the turtle has some, like, it's not executed well, but so, like, the frog is singing something and the puffin and Odette or whatever, and then the turtle will be like, long way down or something like that. And it sounds just like, he's not singing.
Yeah.
He's just sounding like Stephen Wright. He is credited with a singing voice. Like, a different actor is the singing voice of the turtle.
But he's not singing.
He's not singing.
Which makes me wonder, you know what? I would be curious to know, was this initially, like, did they add in music?
That's interesting. Or, like, adding in this song even.
Because, like, some of these are, like, Broadway talents, and then some of them are, we need someone to do the voice of Stephen Wright for this song.
Yeah.
He's not singing.
He already recorded all of his parts 2 months ago.
We need someone to do a ridiculous French accent that John Cleese is doing. John Cleese could sing that.
Yeah, he definitely could.
And he's basically just talking or, like, singing.
That song is garbage. Yeah.
And that's Adam Zippel. And that's...
David Zippel?
Sorry, David Zippel. And Jonathan Hattery, who... is a guy? Oh.
Look, the music in this is not strong.
The music is not strong. And it seems like some of it was just added later.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
Because, there are more songs than there need to be. Like, it's not for musical theater purposes.
No, there's a whole...
It's just like, kids like singing, we'll do more of that now.
Because what is the Mencken reason to sing?
Ashman reason to sing when you're feeling too many emotions and words are not enough, you break into song.
Which is, it's beautiful. And sometimes this movie attempts to do that. Mm-hmm. It doesn't always succeed because it's not earned. Like the princess's song where she's like, oh, I love you, Prince Derek. And it's like, wait, didn't you just not marry him?
For longer than forever.
But then there's like this song, which I think is supposed to be like the Be Our Guest, which is during a training montage. It's supposed to be like the fun, goofy song.
Yeah.
It comes out of nowhere.
And that scene is okay. Like, it's a weird, it comes out of nowhere and it doesn't go anywhere, but like, the scene itself is fun.
That scene had my one laugh of this movie, and I think your one laugh of this movie.
So there's a band of musicians, and the prince and his friend need to practice hunting for the great beast. For the great animal, sorry.
Yeah.
They couldn't use the word beast.
The great animal.
That was... My thing is, like, they're one word away from having a cease and desist come from Disney with all of these songs they're lifting. They cannot use the word beast.
Yeah. They need to hunt the great animal because the great animal has Odette, according to the king's dying words.
So they're doing, like, kind of like a paintball bow and arrow kind of thing. And they have all the castle's musicians dress up as animals, like elephants and... wolves and rabbit and
got to practice hunting rabbits if you're gonna hunt a great animal.
I guess anyway, so it's all of these humans running around in animal costumes, and there's one who's a duck, and so he pops his head up, and
so someone yells duck, that duck pops his head up and he gets shot.
What?
And then later in the song it happens again.
Duck, what now? Boom.
Yeah. The second time it happens, legitimately very funny.
It sounds dumb, and it is, but yeah, it got a laugh out of both of us. It was
well executed.
Yeah.
That's the joke.
I
All other laughs in this movie were at the movie.
I will. I guess I'll save my summative comments for our last segment. Speaking of segments.
Oh, yeah. What?
Are we ready for?
Oh, is it time?
I think it might be time.
Oh man, did we have anything else we want to talk about? No, I guess we didn't.
I think we got it.
Okay, it's time.
Sorry if you haven't seen Abominable. That's just going to be every episode now.
Or heard the Abominable episode. We do that to each other all the time.
All of the time.
Yep. And then we sing Coldplay. Go ahead, Kate.
Dick, this is the final cut.
Whoa. What's that?
It's a series of segments that mean we're trying to wrap up the episode, but probably won't for a while.
That's true.
If you're going to
shout out... It's a series of segments intended to be quick answers that go on forever.
If you're going to shout out a scene, Dick, from the Swan Princess, we're already there. What are you going to... Oh, see, you wasted yours just now.
I wasted it just now. Okay, I can figure this out. Okay, go ahead. Finish asking the question. Buy me some time.
Go.
Ah!
One scene that you think is just a scene that you want to give an extra thumbs up to. Yeah, that duck might be it, right?
Okay, what do you got?
I was waiting for you to do one first.
Okay, I'm going to give my extra... Look, I said it before. I'll say it again. The beginning song is it's like a structural and almost note for note at times ripoff of Belle. And it goes on for like 12 minutes too long, but it's fun. It's like dumb and fun, and I wish the rest of the movie followed that same dumb fun.
Yeah.
Specifically when the two leads sing "This Isn't My Idea of Fun." They like kind of talk over each other, which is interesting because they are in a competitive, like combative relationship. So singing over each other is kind of like talking over each other. It's kind of like arguing. So it kind of like in the setting, in like the text setting of that song, it establishes a little bit of relationship. And I think this is the one song that they really put work into.
I think this is the one song that, like got a second draft.
Yeah. I mean, I can see it. Like, I don't think this composer had done a lot before.
No.
So, I've written some music in my time. You've written some music. Your first effort is not as good as your 10th effort, is not as good as your 30th effort. So I feel like this is a composer kind of at the beginning, kind of trying to find his footing and just being like, look, I am putting everything into this song. This is going to be great. And it's fine. But I can see the effort. Yeah. I can feel the effort that has gone into this. And for me, that's my scene shout out. I can tell they tried.
Yeah.
What do you got?
After
Kate?
that was what I was going to do. After that, I guess that animal hunting scene is the closest to like fun.
Yeah.
But I guess I'll just, this is a backhanded compliment.
That's the only kind you can really give this movie.
Yeah. So the moments where like Liz Calloway just gets to rip, like in that Far Longer Than Forever, she sounds great.
She sounds amazing.
And for a second, I forget I'm in this movie. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, like a new princess, right? Like,
yeah.
You were saying like my favorite bands were Pocahontas and Lion King, but like, right? My favorite genre of music is princess songs.
Yeah.
Right? Animated princess songs.
I'm aware.
I'm like, oh, this is an animated princess song I haven't heard.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, well, it's not very good.
Yeah.
But Liz Calloway's voice
amazing.
tricks me into like just the specific timbre she uses and the way that you can tell that she is really working hard to interpret this song in a real way, in an earnest way, when like it doesn't seem like anyone else tried that hard. Like, go Liz Calloway, but also it's like that moment where like, oh, this could have been really good. Like, had Disney or Pixar got a hold of it, Swan Lake, and which bears to mention that there is an anime Swan Lake that does use Tchaikovsky music.
Nice. It doesn't look great.
It doesn't look great, but it's worth mentioning because the Disney Channel got some rights to it and aired it in 1994 on the Disney Channel. Almost definitely to be like, hey, look, we got this. You don't need to see the Swan Princess.
Swan Lake.
Screw you.
Yeah, that's what Toei Animation and some Soviet animation company. It's weird.
Yeah.
Kate, do you have a scene shout out for the other movie?
The Sleeping Beauty or
Horse.
Sleeping Beauty?
The Sleeping Beauty.
I do, but I'm going to take yours.
Go for it.
Okay. So I didn't remember the three fairies very well at all. And they're my favorites. Yeah. Like, they're some of my favorite Disney characters, maybe of all time.
Surprisingly, this movie just rips through the Bechdel test. It passes with flying colors.
Well, and this movie, like, is not about its romantic leads.
No.
That's what maybe drives the plot, but in terms of screen time, those three fairies get the most, and then the two kings after that. Yeah. Like, it's nuts. It's like, this is a movie for old people. Like, the old characters
it's Romeo and Juliet if you cut some of the Romeo and Juliet
if
scenes.
you highlight the good parts of Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, you highlight the best parts of Romeo and Juliet.
So they have a scene where the three fairies are preparing for her 16th birthday, but they've taken a vow to not use magic these 16 years, to not draw attention to themselves.
Because they're in hiding, they don't want Maleficent
in the middle of the forest. So they are trying to both make a dress for her and make a cake for her without using magic. And it is the most adorable and hilarious. Like, they're
so bad at it.
They're so bad at it. And they're so earnest. Like, you think, like, oh, well, they're fairies. Like, they'll figure it out anyway. But she's trying to make Flora Orfana is trying to make a dress and using Merryweather as the model. And she's just, like, pinching up and down and, like, cutting a hole in the fabric. She's like, oh, well, that will be the bottom. Like... And it just ends up looking like this, like, giant puffy pink whale of a monstrosity.
And the arms, like, immediately fall off.
The arms immediately. Merryweather's like, I don't think this is going to work. She's like, pish, pish. Like,
also, Merryweather is not the same proportions as Sleeping Beauty. As,
she has to stand on a stool. And that's, like, one of the jokes. It's like, well, it will look better on her because she's not a puffy. Anyway. And then the other one, either Flora or Fauna, is making a cake and, like, getting all the ingredients together and putting the eggshells into the batter and, like, oh, it says fold in the eggs. Well, I'll just fold the dough over the eggs.
She just puts two full eggs in there. Yeah. Shells
and then eventually they decide to use magic. They're like, oh, it's going to be fine. And it's not fine.
Oh, wait, when she sorry.
Yes, no, this is where I was going.
She stacks the cake like 16 layers high. She's like, I think it'll stand better once it's baked.
No, but I was going to say, yes, once it's baked.
I love that.
I like that too.
It's like, oh, you were going to put 16 layers of cake in the oven at once. Great.
Also, I don't think they ever bake it. My favorite is, she's like, when they decide to, like, screw it, use magic, she just sets the recipe book up. She's like, hey, ingredients, come over here. Look at what you're supposed to do. And it's just like bag of flour and eggs. And the bag of flour is like nodding like, okay, I see the okay, let's go.
Reading the recipe.
It's great. And like, it doesn't really have good eyes. It's the Disney thing of making these inanimate objects have so much personality. It's so good. That scene was, I want to watch it again.
That is absolutely my favorite scene in the movie.
Yes.
So... nicely done. I guess my scene shout out will be for Scrump. Scrump.
What's the opposite of scamped? Scrumped? Scrumped.
Whatever the song is called, where the two kings are toasting each other, and they're
scumps.
So the two kings are like toasting each other, and they're having some wine or meat or port or whatever, and there's this servant there who keeps like sneaking tastes of the wine, and like the kings will spill it, and he like sticks his like lute under to catch the spill, or lyre or whatever he's got, and like this servant like from the beginning of this scene to the end of this scene goes from like very sober and stately to passed out on the floor drunk. It's great. It's a really, really fun bit. And these two kings are really funny together. Like, it's just that this whole sequence
and
is
he's
very...
like on the way to being passed out. He's like still following orders and still like kind of like playing it off like, well, this is fine. Like,
it's totally fine.
Here, totally fine. I'm bringing you the thing. It's fine. And the kings don't notice, which is great too.
They don't notice, and he is blitzed.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
More drunkenness in Disney movies,
yeah.
please.
This movie is so funny.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen Sleeping Beauty in a while,
like, it's surprising how well it holds up.
Yeah.
Okay, what's our next little Final Cut segment?
MVP, where we choose a most valuable player, part,
primate,
pivotal.
Do you want to start this? Most valuable Pippin?
Some pig.
Do you want to start this or
should
I?
I mean, can I...
Wait, can I start it? Just in case.
Okay.
Liz Calloway!
Hey, that's a good choice.
Liz Calloway did not, I don't think, get an MVP in Anastasia. So I'm going to give her one now.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
I've never heard her be bad. I don't know a lot of her Broadway works. I know she did Baby, which is a show I don't really...
That is more than I know about her Broadway.
It's a show I don't really know about, but I know the finale.
Okay.
It's called The Story Goes On, and it's great. So I guess at some point...
Is that why her Twitter name is Liz Goes On?
Yes, it is.
I just thought that was weird, but now I understand it. Yeah. That's great.
It's a great song. She rocks it, and I think that's the song that's the role that really spiraled her forward.
She's also the original Ellen in Miss Saigon.
Oh, great!
The other one who sings that duet.
Nice. Yeah. So she's tremendous, and if you want to see her. Well, I mean, I'll tell the story, but she tells a funny story on
Seth Rudetsky's
what is that called?
Video series.
Yeah, Seth Rudetsky
being
video series talking to Broadway
catty
people.
With Broadway people.
Look up.
That's what it's called.
I mean, search Seth Rudetsky, Liz Calloway.
Yeah.
But she tells this story about talking to Meg Ryan at the Anastasia premiere and being like, I'm the one who did your singing voice, and Meg Ryan just blowing her off.
Meg Ryan being like, I told people that I don't my own singing. Please don't talk to me again. Like, please don't. I think it's obsessed.
Obsessed, yeah. Obsessed. She tells the story beautifully. Also, you can hear her sing. The Story Goes On, which is gorgeous. So, Liz Calloway.
Yeah.
Great. You got an MVP?
Well, I'm going to give my M to Flora, my V to Fodder, and my P to Merriweather.
Fair.
Those three fairies, man, they're so fun.
Yeah.
I love them so much. Like the scene I described is just, it's not all that they do, which is fantastic. Like, there's the pink and blue argument that goes on the whole movie.
Yep.
That's a great running gag. Like,
even that little bit at the beginning where they're like, they shrink themselves to like get into teapots to have an argument or whatever.
Yeah. And then they like give up their powers, and there's one but like, they're just so fun. And each, like you said, there's kind of two personalities, right? There's Merriweather and the other ones.
Flora and Fauna are kind of similar.
There's one who's the boss.
Yeah, one is the boss.
But I can't remember who it is.
I can't remember the names because Flora and Fauna are pretty similar names.
Yeah.
Those are also the names of twins that Gomez Addams used to date.
Okay. That's okay. Great.
You're welcome.
But anyway, like you said, like Bechdel passing. Yeah. They are not like, I feel like they are not used as like, oh, these old matronly spinsters, which is kind of, it's their character design, but it doesn't matter because they're spunky and they have these ideas and they're so great. I
mean, and they're I will say, I feel like Terry Pratchett borrowed from that sort of trio when he wrote his Weird Sisters books, because those are three witches, and there's like there's like a young one, a dumb one, and an old mean one.
Sure.
Which is kind of also Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
Which is also Macbeth. Well, not really Macbeth, but there are 3 witches.
There are 3. They're all just terrifying.
So, like, I don't know if this is the first instance of this archetype, but I definitely see its influence resonate throughout culture.
Yeah. And it's a smart thing to do because the original fairy tale has 7 fairies, but I don't know how much they're used throughout. It's
so
like
many.
7 fairies come to gift Princess Aurora with something.
Yeah.
And then the ballet has 6. No, but it might have 7 because there's a lilac fairy. She's the one who's like, no, not death, sleep. I said sleep. Did you hear me?
Cool.
Anyway,
Remember
but
the
3's
lilac.
better.
Yeah.
3's way better.
3 is way better.
Dick, if you were to cross over these 2 movies in some way, shape, or form, what would you do?
Oh man, I should have been more prepared for this. Okay, here's what I do. I take these 3 fairies and I send them to the studio that produced the Swan Princess, and I have them fix it and turn it pink and blue. No, if I'm gonna give a serious answer, here's what I do. I put Maleficent in the Swan Princess, and just let her do her thing. I don't know if anyone comes out of it alive.
Probably not.
And then Rothbart. No, I don't know. Kate, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if I have a crossover. I don't know if I have a crossover I care about. I kind of don't want these movies to touch.
Yeah. I would say my crossover is, in spite of the 2 songs that almost work, replace all the music with Tchaikovsky in The Swan Princess, the way that Sleeping Beauty basically does. That's my crossover.
So you cross over the score of Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah, but it would be the score of Swan Lake.
Okay, well, it's not really a crossover then.
Well, it kind of is. It's a conceptual crossover.
All right.
But do the same thing, right? Like,
No.
So George Bruns, the composer on Sleeping Beauty, I was reading more, he did use the motifs and the themes of, he didn't write really original melodies.
Yeah.
He just kind of expanded upon them. Wouldn't that be interesting in Swan Lake? And I feel like you'd get a different vibe. You'd have a lot less scenes that don't make any sense. Like, I feel like at least half of the songs are just scenes because someone thought of a song. Like, I was looking up, I'm like, okay, maybe there's a hunting scene where the musicians or servants are the hunted. Oh. No, that's completely manufactured for the movie. Like, yeah, the movie is bad, Dick. This movie is bad. If you have childhood nostalgia for it, wonderful. This movie is not good.
All right.
They created entire scenes for musical numbers because they're like, kids like music. No, kids don't like bad music.
Kids like music, though.
Kids like musicals. Kids like good music.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's what I do.
Nice. Is it?
It's time.
For the final cut? Final cut. Here it goes. Kate, Sleeping Beauty. Mm-hmm. Are you of the opinion that we should just re-release this movie as is? Do some sort of special edition where we plus it up or remove some stuff or turn it into a ride, or do something really boring like putting it in a museum like you love to do? Or do we throw it in the vault, never to be seen again, along with Song of the South and Captain EO?
I think I re-release. I don't know how much it would make in theaters, but like put it at the top of Disney Plus, put it on the Disney Channel for a spin. I guess it just passed an anniversary because it's a 9-year, but every 10 years, bring it back out, pony it around. Like, it's good.
Yeah.
It has, I mean, if you were to special edition it, it would be like right? Like make the relationship more progressive. But for what Disney was doing at the time, it's progressive.
And I think
there's
if you're going to
choice in it as opposed to just fate.
Yeah. And I think if you're going to make the relationship more progressive, you have to put more time into the relationship on screen.
Or either of the characters.
And one of the things that I really like about this movie is that it's not the prince-princess relationship. It's all the players around it.
I will say, like, it's a fun movie to watch. It's not about anything. It is just let's retell this in a way where every scene is fun.
Yeah.
It is cohesive. Like, it tells one story. But, like, I don't know what it's about. Like, Little Mermaid is about something. Beauty and the Beast is about something. Don't fall asleep. Or wait an extra day for the curse to pass before you bring this princess back to the castle where Maleficent is almost definitely waiting.
Yeah, it's a weird... There's not really a moral
There's not.
to it.
There's not in Snow White. There's
not like a message out of it. Snow White's moral is clear. Don't trust old people. I stand by that.
Yeah. I think more people should see this.
Yeah.
Dick?
Same. Re-release. I want to see this in theaters.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a movie I may have seen in the theater at some point in my life. Great. I want to see it in the theater again.
I would like to see it with an audience. I think that would be really fun.
I would like to see this with an audience and like a live orchestra.
Ooh.
That'd be really cool.
Oh, I like this.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is great.
Yeah, so that's my re-release special re-release.
Yeah. Plus, yeah.
All right, Kate.
Swan Lake.
Swan
Princess.
Horse.
The Swan Princess Horse.
What do you do?
Vault.
No.
Yes.
No, just the whole thing. Never to be seen again.
Dick, we watch movies for this podcast, and some of it's like, oh, that was a fun romp through nostalgia, but that's not very good, like Charlotte's Web, which I know was closest to a vault, but I was not sold on that, right? Like, it's not very good. But I'm like, oh, I remember things. Swan Princess, I have no attachment to. I think it's actively bad. I think anything that it does that it's interesting, it completely reverses in its own storytelling. And, like, there have been very few times on this podcast where I've just thought, I want that 90 minutes of my life back. And I literally said that to you after we watched this.
I'm going to say some things.
I don't care about it. It's the worst review of all, that it wasn't even so bad that it was neat to watch. It was just, I didn't care about it.
That's fair. It felt a little like, who cares?
Like The Good Dinosaur, right?
Yeah.
What is it? How are they high on berries right now? What is this?
Here's some stuff that you didn't vault. You didn't vault any of the dinosaur movies, including Dinosaur, The Good Dinosaur.
I didn't vault Dinosaur.
You might have vaulted Dinosaur.
I might have vaulted Dinosaur. We'll go back and check the records.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a tally because I need this for reference in the future. I'm pretty sure you vaulted Titan AE.
Yes.
You did not vault the My Little Pony movie. You did not vault The Lion King. I don't know, but there's a lot of stuff you haven't vaulted. I just want to make it clear that you are vaulting this.
I am.
Great.
This was, I decided this the day that we watched it.
That's fair.
That I was vaulting it, and my opinion hasn't changed.
That's fair. So you would say you decided before coming in to make the vote?
Yes.
Like you made up your mind.
No one knocked on my door to convince me otherwise.
You made up your mind before literally in the polling station to make this vote.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Brave.
What about you, Dick? Are you still deciding? Are you still undecided?
Yeah, you know what? I could sway either way. I really like Vault, but I think re-release has some good points to it too. No, I special edition this. So this movie wasn't. I understand what you're saying. I think the biggest crime for a movie is to be mediocre. Mm-hmm. Because I will happily watch a movie that is actively good. I will even more happily watch a movie that is actively bad.
We've done that twice in the last 6 months, and it's been great.
I've done it much more than twice. I love watching movies that are terrible, even though people actually tried, and there's like a charm to it. Kind of like when we watch the not terrible, but in fact very good musical that you made when you were 10.
No, that's the same idea.
But it's like
everything is going wrong.
It's like everything is going wrong.
Active train wreck.
And nothing makes sense, but it's cute and there's a charm to it.
Yeah.
And this movie didn't.
Someone believed in it.
Yeah, this movie.
No one believed in this.
I think it started there.
Yeah.
And then it just fell off and just became kind of a cynical blah, 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 by the numbers thing. So here's what I do. Here's my special edition. I take all of the energy from the first 15 minutes where it was bad but fun, and I continue that throughout the movie. I make the LeFou character, who we didn't mention because we don't know his name, and also he did nothing in the movie. I make him a bigger part of the movie. I give him a song, maybe. I pick a direction for our villain, Rothbart, because he is either goofy or he's not or something. But like, I think there's a way to not make this movie good, but make this movie enjoyable. And I think that is to lean in to like this kind of sucks, but I'm really going for it of the first 10 or 15 minutes of the movie.
Earnestness, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fair.
Thanks.
Good luck with your endeavors.
Thank you. You too. Yeah. That being said, it wasn't a great movie.
No. But Sleeping Beauty was really great.
Oh my God. Yeah, if there's one takeaway,
Sleeping Beauty.
go watch Sleeping Beauty. What are you doing?
Go
watch Sleeping Beauty right now.
Old Disney has been hit or miss for us.
Yeah.
And the ones that we've watched for this podcast, Snow White, really good. I feel like it's a mix of expectations and decades that like Bambi and Dumbo didn't really hit us in ways that Snow White and Sleeping Beauty did.
Split decision on Alice.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Alice.
I liked more than you did.
Yeah. Peter Pan is good when it's not incredibly racist.
Peter Pan is
It's either incredibly racist or incredibly good. Racist. And it's never both.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh boy, Peter Pan.
So it's hit or miss, but Sleeping Beauty good. And I mean, by way of absence of black people, just subtext racist, not actively.
Yeah,
that's a step.
She does have like minions, but they're like fantasy creatures.
So that's the only part of this movie that I'm like talk about Care Bear villains. Like Maleficent has these Care Bear My Little Pony stooges with pig faces that I have not remembered seeing anywhere. I mean, that is consciously taken out of the Maleficent canon.
Yeah, they're a little weird and they don't super fit. They a little bit remind me of again going back to Fantasia, the like goblins dancing around during the Night on Bald Mountain sequence.
But they're cartoonier.
Yeah, they're cartoonier. I do like that at one point she gets mad and I think just murders a bunch of them. Or at least zaps them with like magic lightning. Yeah. But it seems like she might just like, if she doesn't murder them, then she would if they did not run away. Like, she's just like, fuck you.
But yeah, so maybe that's my special edition. It's like make them more like the hyenas, where like they can be goofy, but then if they're not smiling,
they're a real threat.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Nice.
There we go.
Cool.
Well, Dick Ward.
Hey, Kate Phillips.
Are we? We're out of episodes. No, that's not true.
Wait, are we out of episodes?
We're not out of episodes.
Is this the last Cellmates podcast ever?
But we don't want it ever to be, and we know that you don't either. So if you have,
I hope people listening don't say like, "No, I'm good.
No, I'm good.
This is done." Now. Which, you know what? Fair.
Yeah.
Some things
Do what you gotta do.
Watchmen ended after one season. It was great.
If you want more episodes, and especially if you want episodes based on movies that you care about or want talked about, find us on social media and recommend one movie, a pair of movies.
20 movies.
We'll
figure it out.
4. We don't do more than 4 at a time, and we only do that once a year.
If you want us to watch all the sequels to Swan Princess,
oh my gosh,
and all the sequels to Land Before Time for one episode, let us know.
If you'd like to be co-host with Dick Ward for that series, also let us know, because I won't be there.
Kate, I don't know if I want to meet another person that wants to watch all those with me.
I certainly don't, which is, again, why I won't be here.
We watched some of a...
No, we love you, everyone.
We watched some of a Swan Princess sequel.
Did we?
Yeah.
I'd already checked out.
It was really bad CG.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it was one of those CG ones.
And the director of the original came back for it.
It looked like everyone was a background character from the Feast of Fools scene in Hunchback of Notre Dame. It was like 96 was the first time they used like CG people in the background. And like for 1996, great, but you look at any one of them and you're like, oh, but those are like
see them up close.
Those are the main characters of this like 2010 Swan Princess. Oh, it's bad.
Like reboot ass.
Yeah. Bad News Bears.
Ugh.
So you go ahead and watch those. But anyway, we can be reached on Twitter, Cellmates Podcast, Facebook, Cellmates Podcast. We are at cellmatespodcast@gmail.com if you want to email us. And our website is cellmatespodcast.com. Can't connect with us there, but you can listen to us.
And you could click a link for our Twitter and then connect with us there.
So if you forget the word Cellmates Podcast, except for then you can't get to that website.
If you forget the word Twitter,
you're out of luck. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. You're like, what's that? What's that thing all the kids use that Dick's mom tried to search on, but just wrote the words foot surgery for her only
surgery.
Tweet. Yeah.
Yeah, but please interact with us. We love getting ideas. We have some things in the pipeline that are coming from listeners.
Yeah, we got some good ideas coming in.
Yeah.
We have, I guess, a special episode for our next one. And then we're going to do one of Kate's favorite movies.
No, okay.
But not really.
The timeline is not. Don't worry about it.
Wait, what?
No, we're not. We can't do that till the other movie is out, and that's not for like another month or two. The point is, in the next several months, we've got ideas.
Well, our next
Stay
episode,
tuned.
I think, is still going to be a special episode.
I believe that is true. Yes.
Okay. Well, next episode is a special episode, and then in the future,
we got to be on the same spreadsheet.
And then in the next month or two, we'll have another episode out that I will tease when it is appropriate to do so.
For Cellmates Podcast, I'm Kate Phillips.
I'm Dick Ward.
Bye.
Bye.
I don't think we should tease. We change plans so often.
We're really...
You're really into this teasing. We had to delete the last one because we already changed it in the last 2 weeks.
I feel like it would be nice to say, like, hey, here's like some hints at what we're watching so you can watch these movies along with us.
Sure.
But also, like, yeah, you're right.
But then people listen out of order and people listen to
our minds too damn much
movies
anyway.
They want to listen to.
Because if we had said that last time, people would have spent 4 painful hours.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at least 2 painful hours. We don't know because we abandoned the other. Anyway, you can find out what that is many weeks from now.